So this book, The Yoga of Jesus, basically read as the union of Jesus. Yoga means union. And that's what Paramhansa was trying to essentially kind of explain or kind of share what Jesus' teaching in Bible are not as simple as written. There's a lot deeper meaning to it that most don't understand and many misinterpret. If, whatever, I guess again, could Paramhansa Yogananda be the right interpretation? That's again up to you, right? What makes sense to you. But personally, from based on other texts I've studied and the science and everything, what Paramhansa kind of essentially explains in here from other people also seems very, very true, rings very true, and the truth are mostly true, right? I'll just go read the first, starting one of the startings of the book, right? One of the quotes from the book. Jesus, here Paramhamsa goes into what Jesus said. Jesus spoke of this, basically John 10:30, which says, where Jesus says, I and my Father are one. And then the second one is John 14:11, I am in the Father and the Father in me. Essentially, kind of saying that God and God and he are the same, and he is also part of God, which is kind of what quantum, if you go into quantum theory, quantum physics, whatever, that's one. And then also, kind of look up Donald Hoffman and his theory and his creating a formula or a theory or mathematical equation that says one is experiencing the world through everyone. Essentially, we are living in an illusion, and it depends on, what the experience we have is based on what we essentially what kind of, decide to see. Anyway, that's, kind of a detailed explanation. There's a lot more to it. I was trying to put it in one sentence, but I think I'm failing there. But the main theme of this book is this is not, this is from I believe, a second coming of, Christ. Uh, Basically, Paramhansa Yogananda wrote the book called The Second Coming of Christ, the Resurrection. I wish I could say it easily. The Resurrection of Jesus Christ Within You. It's a 2-volume book, 1,700-page book. I haven't read it. That was too much of an undertaking for me to read it. But if you are very interested in understanding or more going deeper into the Bible than just reading the Bible or going to the church and understanding the interpretation from the pastor, because that could be one version, there could be other versions, right? Interpretations. And that's the whole point of this book, is what Paramhamsa goes into is that on the surface, Jesus, seem simple teachings. And if you just interpret like word by word, just take literal meaning, then it might not mean exactly what it means. There's a lot of depth to it, right? That's what Paramhansa Yogananda goes into. And the biggest thing you can gain if you read it, and if you've read other spiritual books and teachers, listen to other teachers, the biggest thing you can get away, or at least I got away from this, is you can read a lot, you can try to understand, listen a lot. All that is one way to get more depth, but truly the only way you truly can experience, truly understand anything is to experience it, to actually do the practices, essentially kind of the Jesus teachings or yogic teachings, essentially, because one of the things that Paramhamsa goes on into is the 18 missing years of Jesus. There's a lot of proof that Jesus might have traveled to kind of somewhere in the Himalayas potentially to be more enlightened with probably other maybe yogis. So, who knows if that's 100% true, but there's a lot of proof for that, right? you go look it up. You will see a lot of research into that potentially that Jesus traveled over there and for 18 years missing in the Bible. That's what it did. Get more enlightened and more be, I guess, godlike, essentially, if that's what I guess literally, he became more enlightened. But anyway, the book is pretty small version of the overall teachings of Jesus. The core teachings are kind of described in here. And really, the last thing that it led me to essentially dawn on me that I can read a lot of spiritual books, but unless I practice and truly experience things within me, what it's teaching, what they're teaching, all the reading is immaterial. Immaterial, because unless you experience and do things, reading is all, knowledge is not anything productive unless you truly experience it. Just like a business, or if you're working, so on and so forth. If you're trying to master a profession, all of the reading, all of the listening won't help you much unless you go actually do it. Similarly, spirituality or the deep inner enlightenment, peace, or joy, so on and so forth, doesn't come unless you truly experience it and practice things. So anyway, highly recommend reading this book. Whether you believe in Jesus or not, I would say it's still worth reading to understand the whole overall spiritual teachings, holistic, I mean, just universal truth of Bible teachings, right? Just like some other, like the Vedas. Same thing. There's a lot of similarities. I kind of reviewed the book by Carl Jung on the psychology of unconscious, which he kind of misinterprets everything as libido and sex and all that stuff. Really, he's completely goes off on a tangent. But at the same time, he kind of shows that all religions have similar symbolisms, similar teachings, similar interpretations as every other religion. And that's essentially what this boils down to. In a more deeper sense, spiritual sense, really what Jesus was saying or the Bible was saying. So it's a great book to read. Great little book, because it's probably a few hours of read, but it truly gives you a deeper appreciation of what Jesus was teaching. So highly, highly recommend this book.